New York Times wrote this really great piece about how hospitals are creating these luxury suites for their rich, I consider them clients, they're rich patients. So basically, it'll be at the top floor of any hospital, and this is happening in New York City, it's happening in Los Angeles.
It's happening at like the preeminent teaching hospital in New York, Columbia Presbyterian, which for years fought this.
Yes.
But now they've apparently given up.
They've given up because they see that it could be a very lucrative thing for the hospital. And, a lot of hospitals are experiencing the same things that the education system is experiencing. They're getting cuts to funding, so they're trying to find other ways of making money, and this is a great way for them to make money. At least that's the argument they're making. So these luxury suites have ridiculous amenities, like, they have butlers.
Yeah, they have butlers.
They have butlers.
Yeah, I mean,
because a nurse isn't enough. You need a butler. Okay, they have like chefs making gourmet cuisine. So in this hospital, you have nurses already waiting on you hand and foot. But people who are wealthy want this. Like a good example of this is Jay-Z and Beyonce. When they gave birth to their daughter, they couldn't just have any regular hospital room. They rented out the suite in the hospital, and it was beautiful. It looks like a suite at the Four Seasons.
But there's actually more to that story. Like Cedars-Sinai Hospital here in Los Angeles, they have $3,800 maternity suites.
Yes.
Right? So when Jay-Z and Beyonce had the kid, they do it on the nice floor, but then their bodyguards were like stopping other mothers who were in this ward. Like, other mothers like going about their business in the hospital, and they're like, why are you here?
Right.
Like, I just had a freaking baby. That's why I'm here.
It's because of the security measures, right?
Yeah.
They were afraid that someone would somehow obtain a photo of the baby,
yeah,
leak it to the media.
I totally got why Jay-Z and Beyonce were worried. Protecting themselves against that makes sense. The result, though, is that you're in this this notion that this is so exclusive that your baby matters more than the other babies. That wasn't their intent, but that's what happens.
Right, absolutely. And you also have to keep in mind, this is like a perfect depiction of what's happening throughout the country, right? You have the wealthy people who have these amazing suites with their own butler, gourmet food, these crazy amenities. By the way, they have the best interior designers in the country go into these hospital suites and design it for them just so it's as beautiful as possible. They have, high thread count sheets, everything you could imagine. And then in some of the hospitals in New York, they don't have the capacity to give every individual their own hospital room. So they put 2 people per hospital room. And that's for, the middle class and the working class. So they're like barely even getting half a hospital room when they're injured.
My dad was just in the hospital for 10 days. And yeah, he had to share a room with some guy who was like totally sick.
Yeah, that's really scary.
That's why I don't really begrudge any of these people who have the access to do this. Right. Yeah, do it. One of these hospitals charges $4,500 for foreigners. So the foreigners come in, and at one of these hospitals too, the Saudi king at New York Presbyterian took out the whole 14th floor for his entourage. They're not even sick.
They're just hanging out at the hospital.
They're fine. They're like, where are you staying in the hospital? They're like, oh, I'm in 1408. They're like, oh, that's great. Later I'll come over. We'll have a party. We'll bring the butler.
Well, I guess that's the question. So where does this fall? Are we faulting the hospitals for providing this thing for people who are going to spend all this money on it because they have a Four Seasons type of hospital room? Or do we want the devastatingly horrible experience of sharing rooms with someone who you don't know what sickness they have?
Here's my only concern.
Where is it we're falling then? We fault them for being in a nice room, or are we saying you should live like the USC hospital?
Here's my only concern. My only concern is if the hospitals are doing this with government money, right, with public money. Because there are people who don't even have the basic necessities when they go to the hospital, right? You're throwing 2 people in a room because, we don't have enough money, we don't know what to do, we're gonna have to put 2 people in a room.
Keep in mind, when you talk about public money, again, I'm a little out of my element here, but hospitals in general, I'm sure they all get massive tax breaks. They're hospitals. They should. So already you can argue that they're intermixing money. What I would be concerned about, and I understand that concern, would more so be the inevitability what the hospitals insist does not happen ever, which is the abdication of care for the people with less money. What they say is one standard of care no matter what room you're in or what your situation from a medical point of view. But, inevitably, the guy rented out the whole 14th floor. Are you at some point going to start thinking, the nurse should cycle through there more often? Nothing in the story suggests that happens, but that would be your concern.